Amber is a 18-year-old homeschooled student and aspiring fashion designer.
Amber Augustus is confident, ambitious, and already building a vision for her life.
I see myself growing my business worldwide and using that as a way to continue my philanthropy for my community.
Amber knows success won't come easy, but she's prepared for the grind.
Just working, doing whatever I can to get there.
She's also pushing past personal fears like learning to drive.
I have anxiety when it comes to driving, especially with how reckless drivers are right now and gear shifts. But I'm currently working on that, yeah.
Like many young women in South Africa, Amber is deeply aware of the dangers of gender-based violence.
Conversations like that, it needs to be had for the betterment of our society, because we don't want our fellow brothers and sisters to go through something like that or to inflict harm like that on other people.
But despite challenges, Amber finds hope not in politicians, but in her generation.
My hope lies in the youth, in my community, because I think we truly want change. We're seeing it. There's a shift happening, not just in South Africa, but in the world.
She looks forward to voting in her first local government election.
Every election that's passed, I've been like, gosh, I just want to vote. I just want to, I want my voice to be a part of this thing. I want to be heard.
Amber is inspired by the bravery of the youth of 1976.
Simply hearing the stories, hearing what people had to go through, simply because they didn't want that racial disparity and that racial segregation.
In Mahikeng, Kamogelo Lekoma, a matric learner at Mabatho High School, reflects on Youth Day differently.
We're fighting our different June 16 right now, a different fight that the youth is engaging in. So we need to focus on that fight rather than be curious about what happened in the past, because we do understand, okay, it happened, yes, but what about our June 16? What about our fight that we have to engage in? The fight against unemployment.
Kamogelo is already making his mark on the rugby field and in debate chambers.
I see myself pursuing tertiary education, maybe at a master's degree. So with that, in the next 5 years, I'd probably be studying still at a tertiary institution, or I'd be diving into the business world, as my mind is also set to be studying a project or something as soon as I finish high school.
He's applied to the University of the Free State to study governance and political transformation.
It's basically understanding what politics is about, how politics came about, and understanding that, okay, once you dive into the world of politics, what to expect, what to know, and what to understand.
But unlike Amber, Kamogelo is not yet ready to vote.
Why do we have to vote when someone comes and show us a campaign which shows it's going to be beneficial for our lives? But when the struggles have to come for the campaign, when the real work has to be done, the passion vanishes for 5 years. So until then, where I see hard work and leadership being available to us, I'll keep my vote to myself.
Kamogelo isn't shy to talk about difficult topics like sex and consent.
Yes, we do talk about sex from time to time because we see it as an opportunity to gain insight from each other, to see how each and every person understands the topic sex, because it's understood in many different ways, but we don't engage in the topic in a reckless manner or lust, if I may say that.
His sense of hope flickers in a province burdened by youth unemployment.
Having hope in the future is something hard to hold on to, because we see the youth leaving school, being unemployed, which is something that demotivates a person to have hope in the future, because what if you also finish school and be unemployed like them?
In Cape Town, Almaaz Mudaly is studying mechatronics at UCT. And she's just as passionate about the planet as she is about her degree.
The youth are tired of rhetoric, and I think that we're ready to take action.
She dreams of combining engineering and climate activism to solve real-world problems.
I'd love to also specialize in geoengineering, which I feel is a field that hasn't been truly explored as yet. So I could kind of make my own contribution towards protecting and adapting to climate change.
Her curiosity about Youth Day was sparked not in a history book, but in music.
I think my curiosity about Youth Day started when I heard songs like Give Me Hope, Joanna, and I watched plays like You Strike a Woman, You Strike a Rock. And I think that South Africa has such a rich history of activism. So Youth Day for me is just looking back to our history of activism.
She plans to vote and sees it as an act of remembrance.
I think as a South African, not voting is almost like a sin, knowing that the struggle that the youth of 1976 went through.
As a woman, Almaz knows that speaking out is not optional.
As an 18-year-old female in South Africa, it's very important to talk about the different power dynamics between different sexes. I think that it's a known fact in South Africa that women and children face the most violent, brutal violence in our country.
Ember, Kamogelo and Almaz come from vastly different backgrounds, but as they step into adulthood, they share a determination to shape their future on their own terms. They don't ignore the country's difficulties. They live them, but they also carry a fire of purpose, passion, and possibility.